Well, hello there. Hi, my little onions. This video is really meant to take full effect into what I want to become, which is to share how I've healed and share my stories in a way that also helps you guys move forward and progress in your own story. So, I had a really hard time trying to figure out how to make this video, and I've been stressed about it because I didn't want to have to read from my journal directly. I wanted to talk to you guys directly, but then I started thinking, I don't think it matters if I'm looking down at my story and reading it to you guys. What matters is that I'm sharing it. So, this is all about the overwhelming grief that happens when someone that you truly love passes away, and the guilt that comes with it, and the losing yourself, and just how difficult it can be even when it's been years since they have passed, because you truly never stop grieving someone when they're no longer around to talk to. At the end, I will be asking some very pertinent questions that I think would help you guys, one, step into your journal for once and actually write and reflect on yourselves, because as a person who's never ever in my life journaled, like I was never a person to journal or write, my form of journaling was art, was creating a picture or creating a visual of how I was feeling. I used to be really terrible with words. So now I am combining the two, where you're allowed to feel your feelings and have art that reflects it while you journal about it. And I think there's nothing more impertinent than sticking a sticker down when you're feeling a specific way and it represent that. This is called The Quiet Weight That We Carry, and it is a journal entry from Stevie Parris. I didn't notice the tulips were gone until this morning. They used to grow wild in the corner of the garden. The gentle blue and pinks danced in the sunlight like a butterfly in a flower field. Someone once told me they looked like wax candy, and I hated those candies, but she didn't. I stared at that empty patch of earth for so long, trying to remember when I last watered them. And I just couldn't. I couldn't even make a guess. They were just gone. Nothing but a patch of dead, dried flowers left to rot. And standing there, all I felt was hollow. A space that I couldn't name, and the thought of her rotting in the ground like how I left these flowers to die. For the first time in years, I bursted into tears. But 4 years isn't that long, right? It's been four. 4 whole years since Angela has passed. The funny thing is, I don't even say her name out loud anymore. Not to the kids, not to myself, and sometimes not even in my head. It's like if I name the lost, I'll summon it. And I really can't afford to conjure up that level of hidden pain when I'm already drowning as is. You would have think that it would have gotten easier by now, that the fog would have dissipated like a beach in the afternoon, that I would be lighter and brighter and flying over the water, watching my reflection as the wind buzzed past me like a seagull. But lately, I've been heavier. I've been slower, distant, even from myself. I sit down and I forget why I sat. I make tea and I leave it steeping until it's bitter. And I walk past doors I haven't opened in years and I pretend they are just storage. It's not like I cry every day. Grief really is not that dramatic. But it's been quieter. Quieter than people would think. Like a film over your eyes or a hand pressing lightly on your back, not enough to shove you, but enough to keep you from standing up straight and holding your head up high. Like it's leaving your head tilted toward the ground, like you're waiting to be publicly beheaded. Grim, I know. But sometimes I think I'm not even grieving her anymore. I'm grieving me. The man I was when she was here. The loving, carefree man that would plan fun weekends with our friends. But it's been so long, I don't even know who I am anymore. And trying to move on felt like betrayal. And I've tried to move forward. I have tried to draw again, gardening with the kids, and even organizing the shed. But every time I laugh too loud and I find a moment of peace, it crashes into me like a wave. Why am I okay right now when she is still gone? I know that it's not rational, but guilt doesn't care about logic. There's a kind of guilt that eats away at you, not because you did something wrong, but because you dared to keep living. Because you dared to imagine that there is a tomorrow. I have felt it every time I've tried to turn the page, and the guilt whispers in the back of my mind, she will never get another chapter, so why should you? And the kids don't know. They don't know about her, not really. I am sure that there's someone they know I don't talk about. I know that they can sense I go quiet when certain songs come on. They know that I avoid the pantry, and they know that something is hurting me. But they do not know who I am grieving. They don't even know about her, the one that created them, because I'm too much of a coward to face the loss and remember her for them. Sometimes I wonder if they think I've always been like this. Like half of me is here while the other half is still standing at her grave, wishing I was in the ground next to her, or better yet, that I was in the ground instead of her. But then what kind of a monster would I be to wish this level of grief upon her? Either way, I think they've started grieving me, even though I'm still standing and I'm still here. And they left 3 notes on my workbench. They left them without even a word. They just slid it underneath my cup of coffee and my crackers. And Fumiko, of course, written in a bunch of different colors of marker, he said, "Hi, Dad. I saw you standing outside today looking at the dirt. I think there used to be flowers there, and you looked sad, but you also looked like you were not really there. I miss when you were here more. You used to sing while cooking, and it made me feel safe. I don't know where you go, but I miss that part of you, and I just wanted to tell you that." And from Minato, folded up like a mission report because he had to label it urgent, private eyes only. "Father, observation. You spend more time alone in the garage lately. Conclusion? There's something heavy on your mind. The unknown variable? Is it something that we did? If yes, please let us fix it. If no, maybe we can help anyways. We may not know everything, but we do notice when the house gets colder, and lately it's been freezing." And from Rika, of course she tore it out of a sketchbook corner, but the words are always soft and steady. She said, "I remember hearing you whisper once to yourself when you thought no one else was near. You said it's okay for remembering to hurt because it's the only way you can remember it was real. And you had said it like it was something someone once told you. I don't know who it was about, but maybe it still helps hearing it again. Because even if we don't know what you lost, we still love who's left. Please don't go so far away that we can't find you anymore. Love, Rika." It was a truth I had forgotten. I remembered something she used to say once, and I whispered it without even realizing. It's okay for remembering to hurt because it's the only way we remember it was real. She said it after we lost our first garden, after a storm swept everything away. And she said it as if she knew all too well the pain of remembering something she had lost. And I wish so much that I had asked her about it then. And when she was sick, she said it to me again. When I was at a loss for words, I didn't know it then, but I think maybe she said it for this too. And I was so lost, I didn't notice. I didn't notice the whispering between the kids. I didn't notice the dirt underneath their fingernails. I didn't notice Fumiko watching me in the garden that morning, watching me stare into that empty patch of earth like I was waiting for something to come back, and watching me cry into the dirt and dried flowers. But he noticed, and he told Noriko. And Noriko, with all of his quiet curiosity and soft-eyed planning, made a decision. He asked Rika what seeds usually were in that part of the garden. She remembered the colors that used to grow there: blue and pink tulips, a little overgrown, always tilted toward the sun, and she was always remembering the little things. And so, with the help of his brothers and sister, they replanted what had once been mine, not because they understood it, but because they saw what I had become, and they missed me. And this was the surprise I never saw coming. I had woke up late one morning, and I walked past the window, as I always do, on the way to the kitchen. I have to make my coffee. It's the only thing that keeps me going. And then I froze. There, glowing underneath the sun, the pale yellow sun, were tulips, baby blue and pastel pink, glistening with dew. So impossibly soft that it almost hurt to look. I walked out to the garden, and I opened that door so slowly. I stepped into the yard like I was stepping into a memory. I whispered without thinking, stepping forward like a zombie being controlled by the lust for blood, and barely whispered more than a breath, "Angela." But before I could take another step, they jumped out laughing, covered in dirt, holding their little watering can like it was a trophy. "Surprise!" they yelled. I turned, stunned, and Rika explained. "We noticed you were quiet a lot, and the house felt cold, so we thought maybe the flowers would help." Minato added like it was all part of a mission to bring me back from wherever I had been. We coordinated a full replant operation. I did the signs, Rika picked the colors and flower type, while Noriko did the digging. And Fumiko said he had saw you crying here, so we thought what better yet than to replace your sorrow with flowers. And my little Fumiko, he just smiled and he took my hand. I don't think they'll ever understand what they gave me that day. They didn't just bring back her favorite flowers, they gave me permission to remember. That night, after I put them to bed, I went into the office, the room I had not entered in over 4 years. The fake storage, the mystery pantry room, it was just our space. This time, the air didn't strangle me. This time, I didn't look away. I sat in her chair. I let my hand brush the sweater still draped across the back of it. I let the silence wrap around me like a blanket instead of a threat. And I breathed. Not in sadness, not in despair, just in memory. Angela was real. The tulips were blooming, and I am still here. Forevermore, Stevie Parris. So if you're carrying something quiet, if you've been living in stillness and your grief is kind of blurred into guilt, if you're afraid to move forward in fear that you'll be leaving someone else behind, I just want you to know that you're not wrong for feeling heavy. You're not broken for still aching. And you are not alone. Everyone who has lost someone much near and dear to their heart is feeling exactly what you're feeling. And I know that this story can feel just like a story, but I don't want it to be. I want it to be a nudge for you to reflect on your life and to move forward from what's holding you back. And I want you to know that it's okay to move on after you've lost a loved one. So I made some questions, and I would love it if you guys would reflect. Now, you don't have to comment, your personal life, but do know I do read everything. And just grab yourself a journal. Get one from the dollar store or anything, but have something for you to write things down in. I think I would tell you to just think about it or to whisper it to yourself, but I truly think speaking it aloud or writing it down actually releases the weight and the thoughts off of your shoulders. As a person who started journaling, it really makes a difference. Either saying it out loud, which those type of words are hard to say, so I turn to writing them down, and just whenever I'm feeling overwhelmed or stressed or I'm having anxiety, I now take the time to write out those feelings and reflect on them and truly understand why I'm feeling them. So please, I implore you, if you really want to make progress in your life, answer these 3 questions. What part of myself have I locked away because it hurts too much to remember? That is the very first question. Um, I'll share. When my dad died, I kind of didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to speak, and I kind of felt at a loss for words. I felt like, you know, we were supposed to go to Wild Waves that weekend. It was literally my dad's birthday. He hadn't even turned 50 yet. We were gonna go and celebrate, and one of the places we spent a lot together as children, and he didn't make it. He didn't make it to that moment, and it was very sudden. And on top of that, that day was already overwhelming for me. I had been driving for a company I used to work for, and I witnessed a shootout right next to a school. A person I had normally picked up on my route, and as I drove by, they were just there and they were dead. I watched a kid I had picked up many times before pass away in front of my eyes in the blink of a mere few seconds. And in the overwhelm and the anxiety of that, my brother picked me up and I went over to my mom's house and I was relaxing on the couch. And I was actually sitting in the massage chair when my brother called me Malik. And I figured he was calling me about what, the traumatic thing. But then he said, "There's something I have to tell you." And when my heart sank in that moment, I'm just like thinking to God, how much more could you put on my plate right now, right? It's like I'm already traumatized, only to be re-traumatized and told that my father is gone and that we need to go to his apartment and figure everything out. And it's just like I had no time to process the traumatic event before, and I just moved right into that traumatic moment. So I just kind of shut myself off and I stopped taking care of myself, and I just went through the motions, and I never truly processed what had happened before my dad died and then finding out he had died. And what's even crazier is on his birthday on Friday, I had texted him. I said, "Hey, happy birthday. I love you. I can't wait to see you to go to Wild Waves." And he said, "Yeah, okay. Thank you." And that was the last thing my dad ever said. And to know in that moment my dad was suffering. In that moment when he texted me, he was at the end of his rope, and that night he was gone. He was suffering all by himself, alone in his apartment on the floor, while acting like everything was normal. So it's really good to reflect, and it's okay to cry, and it's okay to feel heavy and to feel uncertain of how you can imagine life without that person. But even talking about it now relieves that weight off of me. And I love remembering my dad. Now he's on the wall. I have a beautiful picture of him on the wall. And yeah, my second question is, what would it look like to fully live in their honor instead of just surviving? And for me, it was creating Steve. I didn't know how to speak, so I drew. Literally at his funeral, when we were at my brother's house, all together as a family, I drew those 3 little characters, and his name was Steve. And I drew him like that because I thought, wow, my dad has hair. I'd like never seen my dad with hair. He always shaved it bald. So I thought he was just bald, but he wasn't. So his hair was receding, and I drew Steve, and that became Stevie. And then I started creating all of this artwork because when I realized he had passed away, I had no photos of my dad. It was crazy. Whenever I was with him, we just enjoyed the moment, and I was always in the moment with him. And that made me realize, oh, taking pictures are so important. It is so important to document your life because you never know when someone's going to go. And then you'll want to look back on their memories, and it'll be sad if one day I get dementia and I forget. I always want to have the photos. So I recaptured a lot of the things we went through as kids with my father and created family memories that were based on things that we did, like going to Disneyland and, going down Splash Mountain or going to the beach or playing Mario Kart or playing video games. There's so many different things that we did as a family and so much inspiration I can pull from that involves him. And that's where this family started. And the third question is, if they could see me now, what would they want for me? And I think my dad was always very supportive of my art and my storytelling and my ability to draw. He was always very proud of me. And even though he was very poor and did not have a lot of money, he would always get me art supplies and just support my dreams. So when I think about where he would want me, it would be here, pursuing my dreams and being a full-time artist. He knew how important it was to me, and so I always am going to strive and take steps and move forward in that direction. For the longest time I was pretty lost, but now I know where I want to take my artistic skill, and I've been told a lot that I bring a level of peace to people, and that people always feel more calm after they've talked to me, and that talking to me helps them through whatever they're going through. So I want to be able to reflect that for you guys. And right now, my biggest passion project is working on a planner. And it's not like a traditional planner because I get stressed out at like time frames and all these lists and like things being too overwhelming. It is a planner designed for journalers. It's designed for people who don't know how to journal and don't know how to, see the progress in their life. They feel like they're really behind. This planner is for that. I've made 3 prototypes so far. One for me to actually see if a person who really doesn't like journaling could get into it. And then I gave it to my friend who has journals and journals and just a library of journals from her writing down her thoughts and seeing how it works for her. And then also I gave it to our friend Asia for her birthday because she wanted to really plan and get her life on track. She's felt pretty lost, and to see if it'll help her. And my goal is to eventually, I'm going to open up a Kickstarter and I'm going to get everything settled up because I think I might do spiral bound, because the thing for me is I don't like manufacturing thing. I just feel like people don't make things with love, and that's why I like making the things myself. And as much as I want to do like hard cover traditional bound journals, those are really hard to get made here in the USA. And my alternative was spiral bound, but I think I found one, but I would have to order quite a few of them. So I think opening a Kickstarter and seeing if this is truly where I meant to bring my artwork is gonna matter. And then on top of that, another little thing that I'm doing right now is I'm transferring from just making art to making story driven art that helps people heal and inspires you to journal. So whether it's me talking about a story happening within my fictional world and then offering you guys questions to help you kind of reflect on your own emotions or maybe whatever you're going through. Of course, it's only ever going to hit with whoever is in that moment. And the last announcement I have is June 20th is the very first day of summer. So congratulations, everyone. We have made it pretty much halfway through the year. We are officially closer to 2050 than we are to 2000. It's crazy to think. I have some story-driven stickers and artwork coming out and memo pads and sticky note sets. This is all about like what it's like to go through the heat wave, the the slowness of summer, because it becomes so hot, you don't want to do anything, and it becomes harder to go to work. So I have created a little funness for that. And of course, if you would ever like to come back to this story that I've written out, you can actually visit my website page, rtlifestudio.com, where you can go onto the blog, and every month I make a story, and it's like the thing for that month. I do know that June is also the month for mental awareness for men, and don't think I don't remember you guys. So that is also kind of inspiring this journal entry as well. But I know that this is so far left field from what you guys typically see on my channel. If you guys have been here for a really long time and have been subscribed for a while, you'll notice that I got rid of a lot of my older content. And I think it's just something I felt. Of course, I didn't delete it. It's just privated. So maybe one day, if anyone's curious about where I started, I'll reopen it. But I just felt like it doesn't align with where I'm going with this channel, and it serves this channel no purpose anymore. So I did private all of those things. If you guys do have the specific link, you guys can still view it, like if it's in your history or anything. But either way, I just hope you guys have a wonderful day. I know I feel like I'm kind of rambling at this point, but until next time, my little onions. Bye.